بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا من يرتد منكم عن دينه فسوف يأتي الله بقوم يحبهم ويحبونه أذلة على المؤمنين أعزة على الكافرين يجاهدون في سبيل الله ولا يخافون لومة لائم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله واسع عليم. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. An absolutely imperious performance was delivered by Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. At the Battle of Khyber, without a doubt, arguably one of the greatest performances given on the battlefield by any warrior. This performance is a performance which has no equal. Until today you find that many are mesmerized by the performance of Ali ibn Abi Talib at that battle. And indeed you find that that particular performance highlighted the special position he had, not only in the eyes of the Holy Prophet, but in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Battle of Khyber, unfortunately, is a battle that has not been examined with the depth that it deserves. If you were to ask many people to tell you about the context of the battle and the reasons behind the battle and for how long the battle lasted and who were the main protagonists, you'll find that much of our knowledge of the Battle of Khyber is extremely limited. And this is somewhat unfortunate, considering the Battle of Khyber, without a doubt, was a make or break battle in Islamic history. It was a battle that highlighted the vying for power in Medina between the Jewish community and the nascent Muslim community. You find therefore that the battle was one which began with Ali ibn Abi Talib in a state of illness and ended with Ali ibn Abi Talib in a state of imperious victory. And you find that the repercussions of this battle, without a doubt, are both political as well as economic. Economic in the idea that the Jews wanted to build their own economic state independent of Medina. They were building a fortress in the area of Khyber, where in reality they were saying to the leaders of Medina, we don't need you, nor do we need your guidance. At the same time, it was political because you found that it wasn't the only act of treason against the state. Rather, there was a plot to overtake the state with the help of Rome and Persia at the same time. You therefore find that such a battle is not to be disregarded as simply a battle of displaying Ali ibn Abi Talib's qualities, not at all. Rather, it's a battle which wanted to highlight the importance of a person self-sacrificing for the religion of Islam. Because you find that Badr took place overnight, Uhud took place overnight, Khyber was like Khandaq. It was a 4-week war, not a 1-day war. If you were to ask many, how long did Khyber take? Their imagination leads them to thinking Khyber was over a day. Khyber involved a siege of 1 month before victory was given. Therefore you found Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib in this particular battle achieved a level which the Prophet gave him, which was unrivaled by anyone else. And his words, أَنَا الَّذِي سَمَّتْنِي أُمِّي حَيْدَرَ, until today, reverberates in the hearts of many of his lovers. For I am the one whose mother named him Haydar. That particular line, when you understand why it was said, when it was said, the passion behind how it was said, you'll realize in this, the 14th of my lectures on the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the great position he held at the age of 29. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib on the day of Khyber was only 29 years of age. But at that age, he was in imperious form. Therefore tonight, let's examine the Battle of Khyber in order that we're able to understand the context of this battle. And I'd like to examine it in the following stages. What made the Jews, number one, feel so strong in the land of Khyber? And why was Khyber known as the oasis of the rich? Number two, how did the Jews plot to defeat the Muslims in Medina? And how did they begin to harass the farms of the Muslims? Number three, when the Prophet left towards Khyber, why did he go towards the Ghatfan tribe first and then towards the Jews of Khyber? Number four, why did the siege take so long? And what happened when a Jew converted to Islam and told the Prophet, I'll give you the Jewish sheep, take them and eat them? What was the reply about the difference between what is makruh and what is haram in Islam? Number five, who did the Prophet send as his holders of banners towards Marhab? And what did Marhab reply when he saw the two of them? Number six, when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was ill, what did the Prophet do to revive him? And as soon as he received the white banner, how did he force himself towards Marhab? Number seven, what was Marhab's reply? Number eight, how did the jizya with the Jews prove Rasulullah did not want to spread the religion by the sword? And number nine, what did the Jews of Fadak say when they saw the Jews of Khyber defeated? And how does that prove that Fadak belongs to Fatima? Let me examine this and examine this topic in complete depth. The Jews had reached a stage of ultimate power, but outside of the area of Medina. Khyber is 90 miles to the north of Medina. The Jewish tribes, who were the most famous Jewish tribes, were the tribes of Qinaqa', the tribes of Nadir, the tribes of whom? Qurayza. These tribes, in most cases, have been banished from Medina. When they were banished from Medina, this didn't mean they remained silent. You may banish someone from an area, doesn't mean you can cut their tongue from speaking, nor their hands from acting. They went to live in the area of Khyber, and the area of Khyber was an oasis for the rich. In which way? The first reason it was an oasis was that there are no date palms like the date palms of Khyber. Until today, the Arabs have their proverbs in relation to the dates of Khyber. That if ever you want to see the best of dates, go to Khyber. If ever you want to see the best of produce, go towards Khyber. Therefore you found a lot of the Arabs would do what? A lot of them would realize the best of the palm trees were where? Were in Khyber. To the extent you'd find many which want to import and export from that area. Number two, the Jews had hoarded a lot of gold and silver, which they had accumulated over the years. Number three, they were the specialists in making swords, in making armors, in making shields. When you're the specialist in this area and you could add the other two, you have the recipe for success. In which way? Because that means that you could say to anyone, we have the farmland, we have the crops, we have the gold, and we have the weapons. Why don't we build a country within a country? Subhanallah, how history repeats itself. Why don't we build a country within a country? We'll build an area, you and Muhammad and the rest of you can live in Medina. You want to banish us? We have enough wealth for us to reside in Medina. And what they saw, they kept on trying to make allies to defeat Rasulullah. At Khandaq, they told Abu Sufyan, we'll help you with whatever you want. But they found Ali ibn Abi Talib destroying them and annihilating them. After Khandaq, they went and approached the Caesar of Rome and Kisra of Persia. When they went to approach, they came towards him. They said to him that we're ready to remove Muhammad and ready to make you our allies. In other words, this was treason against the Islamic State. Why? Because in the constitution of Medina, Rasulullah had agreed with the Jews that you protect us and we protect you from external forces, correct or no? Any country, when you have an agreement with each other, if someone within the agreement goes outside to another country and does a deal, what do they call it? Treason, correct? What they had done was go outside, committed treason, and now not just committed treason, they felt Hudaybiyah was not a victory for Islam. Yesterday we said Hudaybiyah would be a victory for Islam in the long run. When the Jews heard that Rasulullah had signed a treaty, the Jews turned around and said, Muhammad's got so much power, he couldn't enter Quraysh and win. Therefore, what did they think? They thought, you know what? That's a sign of his weakness. Maybe now's the time to attack him. He could have gone into Quraysh and been victorious. Maybe now's the time to attack him and finish him. Therefore, what did they decide? They decided to speak to a couple of the Arab tribes. They went to the Ghatfan tribe, they came to them. They said, listen, if you join us, we'll give you power, we'll finish Muhammad. And one of the ways they began to harass the Muslims was which way? One of the ways they began to harass the Muslims was that they would come towards the pastures of the Muslims and they'd attack those pastures. I remember Abu Dhar al-Ghafari. Abu Dhar al-Ghafari's family used to have a pasture on the outskirts of Medina. One day in the middle of the night, the Jews came, attacked the pasture, attacked his mother, and attacked his daughter. You found therefore that when Rasulullah heard this, Rasulullah realized, A, they're building a state within a state. B, not do they just build a state within a state, they also commit treason against the state. Yes, it's one thing building a state within a state, it's another thing committing treason. Therefore, Rasulullah turned around to his companions. He said to them that the Jews of Qaynuqa, of Nadir, of Qurayza have gone and built their own state. They're also plotting behind our back to attack our state. All of you are to accompany me because now we have to protect our land. We can't just sit there and watch a plot being seized against us, a plot being planned while we just sit there in Medina. He turned with his companions and he said to them, join me, we'll go towards Khyber. Abdullah bin Ubay was with the Rasulullah but was a munafiq, a hypocrite. When he heard Rasulullah is going to Khyber, Abdullah bin Ubay turned around, he went to the Jews and said, listen, Muhammad's coming. You have 8 fortresses, guard each of them. Muhammad and about 1,600 soldiers are coming towards your land. The Jews, when they heard this straight away, they looked after all their fortresses. When they looked after all their fortresses, the Holy Prophet was with his companions. They headed towards the Raji' first, then Khyber. The companions turned around and said, why are you going to Raji'? I thought we were going to fight in Khyber. He said, I'm going towards the Raji' because of the fact that the Ghatfan tribe, I need to make sure that first they are blocked off, then we go towards the Jews. They said to him, what do you mean? He said, because the Jews have tried to enlist that Arab tribe. We need to block off the road between the Raji' and Khyber. When we block off this road, then we'll make sure that all of our angles are covered. The Muslims went towards the Raji' first. They covered off all of their angles. And then after that, they headed towards Khyber. When they headed towards Khyber, Rasulullah, what did he do? The Jews were all behind these fortresses. If I were to describe to them better for you, imagine 8 castles in the area of Khyber, yes? And all of them are within these castles. And these castles have got doors, the highest of doors, the greatest of gates. And then when you enter from the door, there's a khandaq behind the door. It's a very clever building. Why? Because if a horse gets through, where's the horse going straight away? Straight in the trench, correct or no? They had built fortresses where you're looking at them and you're thinking, subhanallah, Medina thinks it's great. Come and look at Khyber. Khyber is a city within a city. Like the tyrant of Iraq when he made a city within a country, yes? He made a country within a country, yes? In his own area, he'll make a country. You found that they had got these different gates covered. When you go through, straight away there is what? Straight away there is a trench. Rasulullah went with his companions. What did they do? They camped in a certain area. When they camped in a certain area, Rasulullah camped by the palm trees. One of his companions came to him and said, Ya Rasulullah, can I ask you something? He said, yes. He said, this decision to camp by the palm tree is from you or from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, no, it's from me. He said, can I offer you another place to go? Rasulullah said, yes, by all means. If you know the area better than I do, then tell me, where shall we go? He said to him, Ya Rasulullah, when you're by the palm tree, these people on the top of their fortresses are going to shoot arrows down at you. Let's go to another area that is more covered, and we'll all camp over there. Rasulullah went with that area, they went, all of the companions gathered over there. When they gathered over there, the companions now wanted to make their inroads towards the Jewish tribes. At first, the companions thought this is a foregone conclusion. They thought, you know what, these 8 fortresses, all of us are here, who have we got to really worry about? We'll go and we'll take these fortresses. You found that the Jews weren't going to give up that easily, and the Jews played their game very cleverly. One fortress was the woman, another fortress was the children. The rest of the fortresses were what? Were the soldiers. When the Muslims went at first to fight, they managed to capture 7 out of the 8 fortresses of the Jews, yes? 7 out of the 8 they managed to capture. Ali ibn Abi Talib was not involved. Why? Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib had an infection in his eye, and he had a severe headache as well. Therefore, when he came at the beginning of the battle, he was present, but then later on in the battle, because of his headache and because of the severe eye infection, he wasn't able to take part. These Muslims thought what? They thought, you know what? All of these 8 fortresses, we're going to finish them off and we'll capture. 7 were captured. Now there was an 8th. That 8th one took 25 days for them to try and seize. Why? Firstly, that 8th one was one which was controlled by the Jewish leader by the name of Marhab, yes? Marhab was known as a ferocious warrior. Marhab would come out from the 8th fortress. He'd come out in front of all the companions. قد علمت خيبر أني مرحب شاك السلاح بطل مجرب. What did he say? He says, Khyber knows that I am Marhab, yes? Everyone attests to my warrior skills. There's no one here who can come near us. You found at first the Muslims were shivering. Why? Because Marhab is undefeated. Marhab, even his height, when you look at him on a different level. Therefore, when they looked at him, many of them were thinking, listen, we may have captured a number of these fortresses, but this 8th fortress, the one known as the Qamus, is going to be impossible to capture. Secondly, 25-day siege. Their water supply was running out. Their food supply was running out. The Jews were behind their own country, correct or no? You have sheep, you have crops, you have your harvest, all within the fortresses. The Muslims did not think this war would take this long. The Muslims came, at the beginning, what was their intention? Tell the Jews to come to Islam. If the Jews don't come to Islam, tell them to pay the jizya at least, pay the tax for living in a Muslim country. The Jews, when they rejected both, the Muslims thought, we'll finish this, it's a foregone conclusion. You found that the Muslims realized that this was not going to be a foregone conclusion. So what did the Muslims do? They began to look around. What shall we eat? What they wanted to eat was what? They had their wild donkeys with them. They had their horses with them. They began to slaughter these. In Islam, donkey meat and horse meat is makruh, correct or no? In the school of Ahl al-Bayt, horse meat and donkey meat is makruh. It's seen as something reprehensible. One of the Jews of Khyber converted to Islam. He came to meet the Holy Prophet. When he came to meet the Holy Prophet, he said to him, what's Islam? The Holy Prophet explained to him what Islam is. As soon as he heard, he said, it's Shahada. Then he said, Ya Rasulullah, can I say something to you? He said, what is it? He said, you see these sheep? He said, yes. He said, when I was Jewish, they belonged to the Jews. Now that I become Muslim, I'm going to make sure that I give you all these sheep. Take them, for you and your companions are all hungry. Rasulullah said, no. He said to him, what do you mean? He said, these aren't our sheep, it's the Jewish sheep. He said, Ya Rasulullah, but now it's a state of war. I've become a Muslim. Why should we give it back to them? Let me take it. Rasulullah said, we don't eat that meat which has come from haram, correct or no? A fundamental point that yes, you've come towards Islam, but that sheep that you have has not come from good money. That sheep belongs to the Jews. You make sure that the sheep is returned. You see, Rasulullah, the greatness about him was that he was a man of trustworthiness and truthfulness, correct or no? When a man is sadiq and ameen, that man who is sadiq and ameen, you trust him in every one of your affairs. Because the Jew is looking at him and thinking, hold on, you people are surviving on horse meat, you're surviving on the wild donkey, Why not eat the sheep? Not at all. He said to him, return the sheep back to its owners. That sheep belongs to the Jews. Rasulullah therefore sat with his companions 25 days into this battle. Still there was no result. As in the companions were now thinking, Ya Rasulullah, is there no way we're going to achieve victory? Rasulullah decided, let me give a banner to a couple of the companions, yes? Let's see if I give my banner to the companions, can they go out and bring us victory? The first banner he gave was to Abu Bakr, yes? He gave a banner to Abu Bakr. He said to him, Abu Bakr, here's the banner, go out and see what you can do. Of course, when these companions have this banner, they want to go out, they want to achieve victory. But when they see Marhab, each one of them shakes, yes? Marhab just comes out in front of all of them. In front of all of them he comes out, what does he say? قَدْ عَلِمَتْ Khyber أَنِّي Marhab. Khyber knows that I am Marhab. Khyber knows who I am, yes? شَاك السلاح بطل مجرب. That everybody knows about my warrior skills. Abu Bakr comes back, no result whatsoever, yes? He comes back, he says, Ya Rasulullah, I was not able to achieve victory. Rasulullah then gives the banner to whom? He then gives the banner to Umar ibn al-Khattab. He says to Umar, here is the banner. When he gives the banner to Umar ibn al-Khattab, again Umar ibn al-Khattab goes out. Again, within a few moments he comes back. Absolutely no victory whatsoever. This was something devastating to the morale. Why? Because the Muslims were wondering, there's this many of us, and one man scares all of us, and Ali ibn Abi Talib is not feeling well. They knew Ali ibn Abi Talib at Khandaq, at the age of At the age of 27, had brought them victory. They knew Ali ibn Abi Talib at Uhud had remained loyal to Rasulullah. They knew Ali ibn Abi Talib at Badr was the man who killed half the opposition. But now Ali ibn Abi Talib is ill. Rasulullah now made an announcement. What was the announcement? The announcement that Rasulullah made remains an announcement, not just historical. It's a theological announcement, yes? This could be a historical lecture or a theological lecture. History is either something in the books or becomes part of the Aqidah. Rasulullah, do you think he doesn't know who to give banners to? Of course he does. But he wants the world to witness there is a difference between a banner being given to any individual and a banner given to someone who Allah loves. Yes? Because what does he say? Rasulullah turns around, he says, tomorrow I will give the banner to a man. Yes? Allah and me love him. And me and him love Allah. Karraran ghayra farraran. A person, when he goes on the battlefield, doesn't come back except with victory. Never runs away from the battlefield. That will be the man. And Allah will use him to conquer. Allah will use him to conquer. Allah will use him to conquer. Yes? Can you imagine if you were one of the 1,600 on that day? When you heard that, imagine you're thinking to yourself, which one of us is it? Correct or no? How many people vied for that day? I remember Umar ibn al-Khattab one day saying something very interesting. He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib has 3 qualities, I wish I had them, and I would have given everything away for them. First of them is he married Fatima Zahra alayhi salam and had children from her. No doubt, that marriage, everyone wanted which Ali had. Everyone got rejected, Ali got accepted, yes? The second merit is that the doors of the mosque of Rasulullah were all closed except to Ali and Fatima, yes? The third merit was that day when we heard, tomorrow, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tomorrow I'll give a banner to a man who Allah and me love, and me and him love Allah. Kararan, ghayra fararan. When he runs on that battlefield, he doesn't run away, he comes back except with victory. The companions that night, I remember Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas saying, all of us that night, we were sitting, we were looking at each other. We're thinking, who is the man who Allah looks in this way? Who is the man who Rasulullah looks in this way? That tomorrow the banner, it means it's been decided that the banner will go to a man who is what? Allah and the Prophet love him. Which means there is a question mark about everybody else but him. Yes? Everybody else, you may say, may Allah be pleased. With him you say, Allah is pleased, correct? There's a difference. When a person comes and says what? A person comes and says, may Allah be pleased. We turn around and say, yes, mashallah, may Allah be pleased. We wait for Qiyamah to see if Allah was pleased or no. With Ali ibn Abi Talib, no. When he said that, the companions, all of them were looking around each other. They're wondering, which one of us, which one of us, which one of us? And none thought it could be Ali. Why? Because he's infected. His eye is infected. He's got a severe headache. Therefore, when the next morning comes, all of them are standing there. And you can imagine each and every one of them thinking, is it me? Who's Rasulullah going to give the white banner to on that day? Until Rasulullah turned around to them and said, call me Ali, son of Abu Talib. Yes? More, and a fourth one, inshallah. Name your children the name of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. If anyone asks you why the emphasis, say Rasulullah said to us on the night of Khyber, tomorrow I'm giving a banner to someone Allah loves. How can I not love someone Allah loves, correct? Therefore you found all the companions were waiting. He said, bring me Ali son of Abu Talib. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, relative to the rest of the companions, some of them were in their 40s, some in their 50s, some in their 60s. But he wasn't too young to receive the banner that day, was he? He called him. He said to him, come next to me. Ali ibn Abi Talib's eye was infected. Rasulullah took the saliva from his mouth, yes? The purest mouth, the purest saliva of any creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He took that saliva, he placed it on the eye of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. At that moment, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, his eyes opened up. To the extent Imam said, I had never seen like I saw after that day, yes? My eyesight was the eyesight of perfection. As soon as he was able to see, he took the white banner himself, yes? All of you companions claim that you have love for Allah and His Prophet. You can't defeat that man and his brother, and you can't bring about that fortress and bring victory. He took the banner. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas said, we just stood back. Ali ibn Abi Talib didn't walk to that 8th fortress. He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib jogged towards that 8th fortress, yes? And he said, I am like a jinni. This is the day my mother gave birth to me, yes? This is the reason my mother gave birth to me. He said, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib walked towards that fortress. When he jogged towards that fortress, running towards that fortress, he had the banner with him. When he had that banner with him, he came towards the fortress. Who came out to welcome him? The first to come out to welcome him was Harith, the brother of Marhab. When Harith came out, he looked towards Ali ibn Abi Talib thinking, who's this man? Who thinks he's brave enough to defeat us? Straight away with one strike, Harith was on the ground. When Harith was on the ground, Marhab couldn't believe this. What's going on? My brother's never been defeated in any war. And now my brother is defeated. Marhab decided to put on his helmet. He had a particular helmet, armor, where there's a small rock on the top of the helmet, yes? So even if your sword is going to hit the helmet, it's going to get stuck within the rock on the top of the helmet. Marhab came out and he stood with arrogance, yes? The arrogance of a pure Khaybari soldier. He stood there. قد علمت خيبر أني مرحب شاكي سلاحا. Yes? And what? بطل مجرب. He came out and he said these words towards them. He said these words towards Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said it with full arrogance. I am the one who is known in Khyber as what? I am the one known in Khyber as Marhab. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib looked at him and said a line which remains part of our heart until today. He said, أنا الذي سمتني أمي حيدر. I'm the one whose mother named him Haydar, yes? ضرغام جامن وليثور قسورة. He turned around and he said every derivative of the lion. Haydar, lion. Layth, lion. Dargham, lion, yes? Each of these means lion. But he used it in poetry. I'm the one whose mother named him Haydar. The historians say, as soon as he said that, Marhab starts retreating step by step. They looked towards him, Marhab, what's wrong with you? Why are you retreating? No one had ever seen Marhab retreat. Do you know why? His mother had told him from a young age, fight anyone, but beware to fight someone named Haydar, yes? Beware.
Haydari! Haydari! Haydari!
Samir Moli, Falak Mola!
Ali, Ali!
Ali Mola! Samir Moli, Falak Mola!
Ali Mola! Ali Mola!
Sama ke saath Dil Mola!
Ali Mola! Ali Mola!
Nare!
Haydari!
Let's have another Nar Haydar. Instill this Nar Haydar in the hearts of the youth. Another one. A person, when they talk about Ali ibn Abi Talib, they can't hold back their emotion, correct or no? Someone might turn around and say, all our majalis revolves around Ali ibn Abi Talib. Not at all. You can go and check 700 majalis on YouTube, you'll see there's many other titles, yes? But there comes a point when you do the seerah of Ali ibn Abi Talib, when we come to Khyber, how could a Shi'i hold back? How could a Muslim hold back? أنا الذي سمتني أمي حيدرة. Yes, ضرغام آجام. And what else? وليث قسورة. He made it clear that I'm the one whose mother named him Haydar. Marhab retreated slowly and slowly. You can retreat as much as you want. I'm coming after you. He came after him with one strike of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Pierced the rock on the helmet directly to the teeth of Marhab. Finished him off, yes? Straight on the ground. There were 6 surrounding Marhab. 6 of them fell, one after the other. But now he needs to get into that fortress. He takes the gate of Khyber with his left hand, yes? Dhul Fiqar in one hand, and the gate of Khyber in another. The gate of Khyber, which 44 could not lift. Other numbers are giving. He took the gate of Khyber out. Do you know what he made the gate of Khyber? A bridge for the other Sahaba to cross over the trench, yes? He put the gate of Khyber on top of him as a shield. He let the other Sahaba go on top of him. They managed to cross over. The Jews at the time, seeing this unbelievable performance, all of them turned around. They said, oh, Muhammad's army, have mercy on us. We are not able to fight you back. Marhab is dead. Harith is dead. The 6 of them are dead. You found that the Jews turned around. They said very clearly, they said, we're not able to fight. At that moment, the Prophet had told his companions, he said, stop. If these people are saying they're not able to fight, then come back. Don't kill the innocent people. Those of the people who are within that fortress, leave them alone. You found that the son of Abu Talib gave an unbelievable performance, yes? What other Muslims could not do for 4 weeks, Ali ibn Abi Talib done within a few minutes. On the one hand, Dhul Fiqar. On the other hand, the gate of Khyber as a bridge. Absolute annihilation of the opposition in his late 20s, which no other Muslim can come near. And you know what's so beautiful about that? He returns home from Khyber. As soon as he comes back, he enters the house. Fatima Zahra is there. She's prepared the food, yes? He's now sitting with Fatima Zahra. She's prepared the food. When he's sitting with Fatima Zahra, you know, he used to enjoy the dry bread, correct or no? This, of course, is a message for our nutrition. Because today in the world, the healthiest bread is the dry bread, correct or no? White, soft bread, they don't say is healthy. What do they say is the healthiest bread? Whole wheat. Ali ibn Abi Talib used to only eat whole wheat, doesn't eat the white soft. He eats that which is hard to break. You found that Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib comes in, he tries to break it, he can't. He tries to break it again, he can't. Fatima Zahra looks at him, she says, you just lifted a gate which that many people couldn't lift. And now, you can't break this bread? He says to her, قَلَعْتُ بَابَ خَيْبَرٍ لَا بِطَاقَةٍ جِسْمَانِيَّةٍ وَلَكِنْ بِطَاقَةٍ رَوْحَانِيَّةٍ. I lifted the gates of Khyber not with a physical strength, but with a spiritual strength, yes? I lifted the gate of Khyber with a self that can't wait to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said the difference in this situation, this bread I'm breaking for me, whereas Khyber I lifted for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Takbir! Takbir! Takbir!
Therefore you found that Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib managed to bring a victory on that day which none could bring. When the Jews were defeated, what happened? When the Jews were defeated, Rasulullah came to them. He sat with them. He said to them, O Jews of Khyber, now that you've been defeated in this battle, what do you want to do now? Do you want to continue living your life like this? Or do you want us, the Muslims, to protect you? They said to him, what do you mean? He said, us, the Muslims, if you pay the tax, the jizya of the Islamic State, then us, the Muslims, will be the ones to protect you. Us, the Muslims, will look after you. Because you know when you pay the Islamic tax, it's the duty that if any country outside comes to invade Islam, then it's the duty of the Muslims to protect them. He said to them, will you pay the tax? They said, Muhammad, what's the tax? He said, half of your produce comes to us, and the other half you keep. You continue living in your area. You want to worship in your synagogues, worship. But the produce which you produce, half of it is to you, and half of it is to us. You see the barakah behind Ali ibn Abi Talib's victory. Why? Because now the Muslims can have economic independence as well, yes? Now that area of Khyber would prove to be economic stability for the Muslims. The date palms of Khyber, the orchards of Khyber, the areas of gold and silver. Now these were going to be what? These were going to be a jizya, a tax which is paid to the Islamic State. It's like, for example, now in this country, they say to you, you live in America, no problem. The army will defend you from outside forces. You can go and worship in your mosques, but there's a certain tax you have to pay on the land you live on, correct or no? The same tax Islam had, that if the Jews are living within the Islamic State, there's a tax they had to pay. That tax would reach how much? 200,000 date palm baskets a year. Yes? The amount of rizq that came from Ali's strike at Khyber is phenomenal. 200,000 date baskets a year would go towards Medina. The Muslims, instead of worrying about poverty in Medina, now they had their own source of income. Now also, they didn't have to execute anyone or kill anyone, and that's always been my proof against the accusation of Banu Qurayza. Many times people say the Prophet Muhammad executed 900 Jews of the Banu Qurayza. I'm sure you've heard many Orientalists put this argument. I always reply, if this is the case, why didn't he do it with the Jews of Khyber? The Jews of Khyber, their incident, after the incident of Banu Qurayza, the Prophet allowed them to live in the state. If the Prophet wanted to execute the Qurayza, why did he just execute the Jews of the Khyber? Rather, the Prophet, with the Jews of the Khyber, he turned around to them, he said to them, listen, continue in Khyber, I don't mind, but just don't commit treason against my state. Just remain living here, and half of your produce, pay it as a tax. That produce would come. Who would be the first to collect that produce? The first to collect the produce was Abdullah ibn Rawaha. Yes? Abdullah ibn Rawaha would go to the Jews of Khyber. He died the following year, but he would go to the Jews of Khyber, he'd collect the produce. Now he'd come to them. When he'd come to them, he'd say to them, do you have the produce ready for me to take? Now you know, all good businessmen, whether it's then or in 2014, will know how to sneak a deal with you, especially from one particular nation, yes? So what they would do is they say, yes, yes, we have all of your taxes. They give in, there's a bit missing or there's a bit gone, yes? So he'd come back to them and he'd say, listen, there is a tax for you to pay, it's not enough. They turn around, they said, no, we gave you everything. Rasulullah would say to him, listen, Abdullah, let it go, no problem. Don't be too harsh on them. Let them pay what they can, and that should be enough. Further than that, what happened? The following year, when he sent Abdullah bin Suhail, a group of the Jews killed him. When Abdullah bin Suhail's tribe came, they said, listen, the Jews of Khyber have killed our son. We want retaliation. Rasulullah said, there's no problem. Let's go and ask the Jews, do they know who killed him? They went to the Jews of Khyber. They said to them, do you know who killed him? The Jews of Khyber turned around, said no. He said, will 50 of you swear that you don't know? They said, 50 of us will swear that we don't know. He said, so you're willing to lie in front of God? They said, we're not lying. Rasulullah turned around to the family of Abdullah bin Suhail. He said, listen to me. He said, if these people are lying, then I'll turn around to you and say what? I'll pay the blood money on their behalf, yes? In other words, even though Rasulullah had defeated the Jews, he didn't want anyone oppressed who believed in La ilaha illallah. He wanted them to feel that justice could be observed for them. He wanted them not to feel there was compulsion or coercion. Rather, he wanted them to understand that he's come as a rahma lil alameen. He's come to bring mercy to mankind, not to come and oppress them. Therefore, you found on a side note, there's an interesting point over here about the Holy Prophet. What is it? You find with the Holy Prophet, our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah say what? If you were to ask our brothers in Ahlul Sunnah, how did Rasulullah die? And if you were to ask many of the followers of Ahlul Bayt, how did Rasulullah die? Yes? Many of them will reply back by saying what? They'll reply by saying that he died of poison. You ask them which poison? They say the poison of the meat given to him by the Jewish lady at Khyber. You've heard this or no? Yes? What's so contradictory about that argument about he died from the poison of Khyber? What's so contradictory? Have you ever seen poison take 4 years to kill a human? Khyber was when? Rasulullah died in which year? If a Muslim until today doesn't know when Rasulullah died, he might as well go and pack himself in a bedroom and... Khyber, which year? 7. Rasulullah died in which year? 11. Tell me, have you ever seen poison take 4 years to kill a human being? When I ask my brothers in the Sunnah, how did Rasulullah die? I say poison. Which battle? Khyber. 4 years? Khyber takes 4 years to kill him? Or was there something else that happened to Rasulullah that caused him to die and it need to be covered up by a conspiracy of Khyber? That I'll leave to another day, inshallah, yes? Therefore you found on that level, and Rasulullah would make clear at Khyber, when the companions were coming back from Khyber, Bilal was walking with the Jewish ladies through the battle of Khyber after it finished. Bilal was walking with them. When Bilal walked through the battlefield with the Jewish ladies, Rasulullah turned around to him and said, Bilal, come here next to me. He said, what is it? He said, how could you walk through those bodies with those ladies? You know these are the husbands of those ladies. It may be their fathers. It may be their brothers. Bilal, have you got no compassion in your heart? If we have finished the war, take the ladies around the battlefield, not through the battlefield. The mercy of Rasulullah at Khyber was phenomenal, yes? The mercy which he displayed. And that's why when the Khyber battle finished, Rasulullah began to distribute the spoils of the battle of Khyber, yes? The Quran said 1/5 of the spoils is to go to whom? 1/5 is the khums, yes? To be distributed amongst Rasulullah and the family. And the rest of it amongst the Muslims, the rest of the 4/5, yes? The Jews of Fadak were next door to the Jews of Khyber. When the Jews of Fadak heard this, the Jews of Fadak turned around. The Jews of Fadak turned around and said, Muhammad, you've defeated the Jews of Khyber. We don't want to engage you in a battle. We would rather give you half of our land without war. In Islamic economics, if you've gained a piece of land through war, then the distribution is khums. If you haven't gained it through war, then the distribution is fay. The difference between khums and fay is that khums has to be distributed according to the laws of the Quran. Fay can be distributed by Rasulullah as he pleases. Yes? So the Quran said, وَمَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ مِنْهُمْ فَمَا أَوْجَفْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ خَيْلٍ وَلَا رِكَابٍ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يُسَلِّطُ رُسُولَهُ عَلَى مَن يَشَاءُ. The Quran, Surah 59 said, that land which you acquire, which has been given to the Prophet without any fight, that's at the disposal of Rasulullah, what he does with it. The Jews of Khyber, Rasulullah has to distribute it according to khums, correct? Fadak, when they gave their land to Rasulullah, does he have to distribute it to the whole Muslims? Or can he distribute it as he wants? As he wants, because there's been no war for it. That's why he turned around and he said, Allah has ordered me to give Fadak to Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam. Allah has ordered me to give Fadak to Fatima al-Zahra in honor of what her mother Khadija gave to Islam. Yes? That Fadak, when someone comes and says that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance, Fatima al-Zahra replied by saying, number one, that's not inheritance. I got it in the 7th year after Hijrah. Inheritance is that which you get after the man dies, correct or no? When you say you've inherited someone, does that mean you took it in their lifetime or after they've died? Fatima al-Zahra was given Fadak when? Fatima al-Zahra was given Fadak in the 7th year after Hijrah, number 1. And then she turned around to Abu Bakr and she made it clear. Number 2, understand one thing, that did not Sulaiman inherit from Dawood? Did not Yahya inherit from Zakaria? Does the Quran ban women from inheriting from men, or daughters from inheriting from their fathers? Therefore you found Fadak was given to Fatima al-Zahra straight after Khyber. As soon as Khyber was finished, the Jews of Fadak gave half their land. It was ordered that that land is given to Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. Therefore, when those who came and asked the question that how does Fadak belong to Fatima? It belongs as Rasulullah wishes to dispose of it. And that's why Rasulullah, after Khyber finished, as he was returning with Ali ibn Abi Talib, the fortress of the religion of Islam, the backbone and the pillar, as he's returning, who does he see returning back from Africa? Ja'far al-Tayyar, the brother of Imam Ali. And Rasulullah turns around and says the most beautiful of lines. He said, I do not know which one to be more pleased with, the victory of Ali at Khyber or the return from Abyssinia of Ja'far. Yes? Both of them returned back at around the same time. Therefore you found that Ali ibn Abi Talib, no doubt, one of his greatest performances at the age of 29 was the performance on the day of Khyber. The way he was proud to say, أَنَا الَّذِي سَمَّتْنِي أُمِّي حَيْدَرَ, I'm the one whose mother named him Haydar. Yes, the valiant, the brave, the passionate. The way he managed to remove that door was a lesson to all of us. That if ever you think there is any door in your way, when you have Iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even the door of Khyber cannot come near you, yes? When a person has certainty in their Lord, whatever obstacle they face, there is no gate that can come in their way. There is no pillar that can come in their way. When you have that certainty in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows you to pick up a gate with the power of kun fayakun. And that's why you find that the companions would envy the way he picked up that gate, yes? Many of them would want to have that honor. It was a great gate to pick up, but I tell you one thing. It's one thing picking up a gate from its ground, yes? It's one thing picking up a pillar from its position. It's another picking up the spear from the chest of your son, yes? Because when Ali al-Akbar fell on the ground, there was one line which Abu Abdullah said, which reminded him of the day of Khyber, yes? There was one line in particular. Ali al-Akbar was on the ground. He called out, Father, come to me. Abu Abdullah ran in the opposite direction. Ali was one way. He ran the other. Sukaina turned around to her father. She said to him, Father, why do you run that way? Ali al-Akbar is the other. He said, Sukaina, do not blame me. The death of your brother has blinded me, yes? He ran in the opposite direction. But then when he came towards the body of Ali al-Akbar, he saw the spear in the chest of Ali. He tried to remove it. He looked towards the land of Najaf. The poets describe it beautifully. He turned around and he said, Oh my father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, you are the man who lifted the gate of Khyber, but never did you have to lift the spear from the chest of your son. Come to Karbala and help me remove the spear. The spear was in the chest of Ali al-Akbar, yes? It's narrated, Imam al-Hussein narrates and the others narrate, that when he was sitting by the body of Ali al-Akbar, he saw him smile, then he saw him cry, yes? When he saw him smile and he saw him cry, he asked him, Ali, my son, why do you smile and why do you cry? He said to him, what? The lines were beautiful. He said to him, Father, I smile because I see my grandfather coming towards me to quench my thirst on this day. He said to him, Ali, why do you cry? He said to him, I cry because I see my grandmother Fatima al-Zahra standing in front of me. He said to him, but Ali, why do you cry? He said, because for every tear that you shed, I see her slap her cheeks in front of me. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, raise us with the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Allow us to be amongst his companions and those who follow his message in this world and the hereafter. Ya Allah, unite the Muslim Ummah on the love of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, allow us to be the companions of Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. For our dear brothers and sisters around the Islamic world, Ya Allah, cure them and remove them of all their illnesses. Our dear brothers from the Ja'far family, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring them peace in this difficult time. Both Haji Safdar and Haji Shaini, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring them out of the hospital in the earliest of periods. Let's pray all of us together for them and for all those around the Muslim world today who are in a difficult time with the famous ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ 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 أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. Ya Allah, in the name of the one who was ill at Karbala, Imam Zain al-Abidin, cure all of our loved ones. Ya Allah, remove all the oppression that the Muslims face in this world, especially our brothers in Iraq. Ya Allah, bring peace and prosperity to them in this difficult period. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the originators of this majlis, that He allows them to continue in their service of Muhammad and al-Muhammad. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Surah al-Fatiha, but before it the loudest of your salawat.